Hey guys, what is going on? We are back for some Smite. We're not going to be playing any Smite today. We're going to do something a little bit different. We're actually going to start I guess it's going to be called a little mini series called Smite the Basics. And the idea of this is going to be to really start at the very beginning and explain everything in as simple terms as I can. So this might not be a video for everybody, but it's certainly going to be a video for somebody that's just started Smite and maybe doesn't have somebody that's been playing a while to ask some questions to, like, oh, what does this mean? What does this mean? And having to learn it the hard way. So this might just inform you and let you know exactly what's going on. So what we're going to do is we're going to move really quickly. So if you guys need to, go back over something, just rewind the video because we are going to try and move as quickly as possible so that we don't spend too much time talking about something that maybe you guys already know. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to gods, and the way that we're going to do this is we're going to go from assassin, warrior, guardian, mage to hunter, and that's going to be the order that we go in. Now, when you start this game, you start with 5 gods, one of each class. You start with an assassin, who's Thor. You start with a warrior, who's Guan Yu, who's around here somewhere there. You start with a mage, who's Ra, and you start with a hunter, who's Neith. So we're going to start with assassin today, and the assassin that you start with is Thor. Now, quickly, we're going to go into God Builder, and we're just going to look at these attributes here, and we're just going to run through exactly what each one means. So basic attack damage means the amount that you hit with your weapon on a level 1 god with their base protections. So if you're hitting a level 20 god and you're thinking, why am I not hitting 272? It's because they have protections from leveling up to level 20. So that's just going to give you a rough idea of roughly how much you're going to be hitting. It's almost always going to be less than the number is. So yeah, that's what base attack damage means. Power, physical power, is basically how much power you have gained from buying items from the store. So for instance, Warrior Tab is going to give you 40 physical power. That's going to increase your power by 40. What this is used for is not only increasing your basic attack damage, but it also scales off of your moves. Now we'll go into that in a second. Remember, scaling, power into scaling. Attack speed is basically how fast you swing with your basic attacks. So I'll be hitting 272 on a level 1 god this fast. And 154 is kind of fast. 2 is very fast. 2.5 is the absolute fastest, and 1 is rather slow. Lifesteal is basically, if you had, let's say, 20 lifesteal, you'd get a certain proportion of the damage that you dealt with your basic attacks back as healing. So most of the time you build this on a hunter, so that as you're doing ridiculous amounts of damage, you're actually healing yourself, and it allows you to stay out in lane more often by healing off of minions. You can also use it to survive fights with enemy gods. Penetration, physical. What this means is some items come with penetration, like the Crusher comes with penetration. As you can see there, it says physical penetration plus 20. What this means is any god that has built physical protection to stop you from doing damage, you burn through a certain percent of that physical protection. You also burn through people that haven't built physical protection because they have base protections, and base protections will be around about, let's say, 50 to 80, depending on the class of the character. So this burns through some of that and allows you to do more damage. If it looks confusing now and it's not making too much sense, it doesn't matter. We're going to go into jungle in a second. We're going to test it all out and try and give you some visualization on what exactly everything means. Critical chance, probably really, really basic, and everybody probably already understands this. It's basically how often you're going to hit a very big number, a lot bigger than your normal basic attack. Again, we'll go into jungle and really show what that is. Protection physical. This is by increasing your physical protection, it will reduce the amount of damage you take from physical characters. Equally, magical protection is, as you increase the magical protection, it will reduce the damage that you take from magical any magical dealers like mages or guardians. Health is very simple. The more health you have, the the harder you are to kill, really. HP 5 is health per 5 seconds. So this means that every 5 seconds I gain 23 health. So it's like natural regen. It doesn't really matter too much unless you're playing a game like Conquest or Assault. Movement, very simple. How fast you move around the map. Most characters will sit at around about 430, maybe 450. Cooldown percentage. This one means how quickly your abilities are going to come back. So if I use this and you see that the cooldown is 12 seconds, and I build some cooldown, so I've got 10% cooldown, that ability will now be coming back every 11 seconds instead of every 12 seconds. It doesn't sound like much, but it can be a real big improvement. And what it can also do is massively increase the amount that you can use your ultimate. For instance, his ultimate is 90 seconds. We've got 10% cooldown. All of a sudden, it's only 81 seconds. So, you know, that extra 9 seconds could make the difference. Mana, really simple. You have mana. You use it quite a bit. You use it a lot on an assassin at the beginning, but later on it sort of becomes a little bit irrelevant and you probably won't run out. On mages, it's a little bit more important. MP5, very similar to HP5. Mana per 5 seconds. I gain 10 mana per 5 seconds when I'm out of combat. Oh, sorry, when I'm in combat, out of combat, both. So that's a run through of the actual the actual attributes themselves. And what we're going to do is we're going to quickly go into jungle practice. So let's do that. And we're going to quickly run through exactly what each attribute does for us. We won't be able to show every single one of these, but we should be able to show a fair amount. We're going to grab THOR, because he's our character that we're going to be using today. So I'm going to try and get as quick as possible, guys, because really, there's no point you sitting around and me banging on, you know, slowly. I might as well try and, yeah, the quicker the better is what I'm feeling with these lot. Alright, so we're going to level them up a little bit. I'm going to get to level 9. And then we're going to level these up a little bit. Right, that'll do. Alright, so what I'm going to look at first of all is movement speed. As you can see, visually we're moving pretty slowly because we're at 370. As soon as you buy boots, this is why you buy boots first item, almost always, is because now you can visually see that we are moving so much faster and our speed has gone up to 437. So huge increase in speed. Really useful for getting around. Fantastic for assassins because you can get in and get out before you take too much damage. That's number one. Second attribute, physical power. So if we build some physical power by building this has 40 on it. You can see that we've gotten 40 off the boots and 40 off the crusher, so we're sitting at 80. Now all of a sudden we're sitting at 141, whereas before we were only hitting 60. So as soon as we get these, it increases our power, and not only are we hitting for 151 now, which is 3 times the amount we were originally hitting for, but on top of that, we now have something called scaling. Now this is what I said earlier, is this number here is what level I've leveled it to. So as you can see here, there's 3 little squares. That means that this ability is sitting at level 3. Therefore, it's doing 130 and then 260 on the way back, because if it hits twice, and enemy gods take double damage from the return. So yeah, that's what these numbers mean, the yellow numbers. But as you can see, there's these little orange numbers in brackets next to them, and what that means is it's something to do with scaling. Almost every ability that does damage will have scaling on it. So what this one means is 24 into 80 means that it's probably 30% scaling. So what that means is it takes 30% of your total, I think it's 30%, it takes 30% of your total physical power and adds that onto the rank that you've already got. So we'll do 130 plus 24 now. If we didn't have these two items, we'd just be doing 130. And as you build up more physical power, not only does it increase your basic attack speed, but it increases the amount of damage that your actual abilities do. So we should be hitting for around about 150 with this. Yeah, 154, and obviously the 308 on the way back because we hit him twice. So that's that. Now we're going to go into we can't. I think we can look at physical protection actually. At the moment we have 40 physical protection, which really isn't very much at all. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and get these guys to hit us. Now you can see that the little ones are doing 4 and the big ones are doing 23. That's important. That's what we need to remember. So 4 and 23. Now, if we go by some physical protection, we've gone up from 40 physical protection all the way up to 90, and all of a sudden these guys that were doing 24 and 4 are now doing 3 and 17. So a massive reduction in their damage. Now, if we were to build even more, so if we were to go for this and this, all of a sudden we've gone up from 40 to 145 physical protection. And instead of getting hit for 24 and 4, we're getting hit for 13 and 12. Sorry, 13 and 2, which is almost half what they were originally doing. So as you can see, physical protection allows you to take less damage from physical dealers only. Those guys deal physical damage. Alright, so moving on. Magical is exactly the same, so we'll really quickly show that. Who's going to hit me for magical damage? Ra will, right, Ra. Right, so we're going to do this one the other way around, I guess. Oh no, I can sell it here, perfect. So we're sitting at 38 protections. Okay, so he ulted, so that's not really going to be the best thing. But he's hitting us for 14 a tick with his glowing shit on the floor, which I can't remember the name of. So we're going to build that, and we're going to build that. And all of a sudden we've gone from, I think, 38 to 133. So a whole load more protections. And we're going to see exactly what he does this time. Come on, Ra, do something. Unfortunately, Ra sometimes just gets stuck because the nature of the game is just a bit weird. Bit weird like that. Here we go. Right, so now we're currently getting hit for, I believe, 8 per tick. And he's hitting us for 20. Rah. We're gonna die now. So yeah, he hit us for 8 per tick, and I can't actually remember what he was hitting us for before. We'll take ourselves down by 100 magical protection and just see quick. So he's hitting us for 14. So by adding 100, Jesus Christ, Rah, calm down. By adding 100 magical protection, we've dropped it by almost half. So as you can see, protection can be really, really useful. Rah's gotten distracted by Odin. So on to the next one, which is we've done movement speed, attack speed. So if we grab some of this, first of all, we'll just go. Actually, we'll go hit an Odin because that's a good target to work on. Rah, go away. No, I suck. Anyway, regardless, we're going to swing at 113 at the moment, which as you can see is reasonably slow. But we are hitting for an 181, so that's good. So now what we're going to do is we're going to build some attack speed. We're actually going to build a ton of attack speed just to see exactly what it's going to be doing. So now we're up to 188. Now you can really see the difference. Now we are swinging really fast. So that's what 188 is going to look like. 188 is incredibly fast. For an assassin, I wouldn't recommend attack speed too much. You could maybe grab one item, but it's mainly a sort of hunter-ish thing. I think what we're going to do is we're going to max out attack speed so you guys can see exactly how fast you can swing. 213, 243. There we go. Alright, so we've got 2.5, which is the absolute maximum. And as you can see, you just swing ridiculously fast. So that's what attack speed is. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, that one. Now, what else did we have that we could actually show? I'm trying to think. Oh, there we go. There were our stats. So yeah, we've looked at physical power, we've looked at attack speed. We haven't looked at penetration, we haven't looked at lifesteal, crit. Okay, yeah. HP5, cooldown. Okay, cool. So we'll look at cooldown, lifesteal, penetration, and critical, and that's going to do it for this this little episode. So we'll sell all of our stuff quick because we need to. And then we are going to try lifesteal to start with. Okay, so now we should be sitting at a large amount of lifesteal. Where are we? We're up to 50 lifesteal, which is a huge amount. So we're going to have to quickly go take some damage from this big guy because he deals it the quickest. Come on, buddy, hit me. Okay, that'll do. Calm down. Fuck me. Jesus Christ. Okay, so now we've taken some damage. I'm not sure if we can lifesteal off these. No, we can't, because technically they don't have a health bar. But we should be able to lifesteal off Ra. So, let's see. We're down to 450 health. Getting 79 back a hit. So 79 back a hit of 157 is actually bang on half. So yeah, literally just healing ourselves like crazy because of the amount of lifesteal we've got. Again, you don't want to build lifesteal on an assassin, but this is just a quick way of showing you all of the actual things themselves. So if you have 50 lifesteal, you're going to be healing back 50% of the damage that you deal with your basic attacks. I'm pretty sure what we're going to do is we're really going to quickly go and check it because I'm pretty sure you don't get anything back with abilities. It's just basic attacks. Yep, again, that will do, bud. We can go check it out in the camp. So let's see. Do we get anything back? Nothing back from that one. Nothing back from that one. As soon as we start swinging with our basic attacks, we get a ton back. So yeah, it's getting health back via your basic attacks. So that's that. And then we're going to quickly look into critical strike chance. Then we're going to look at 3 items to start with, and then we're going to finish with a 4th. The way that these 3 items work is they increase your critical strike chance and they give you some physical power, but they each have a passive. On rage, basically, when you hit, it increases your critical strike chance. So at the moment we have 60% critical strike chance. Each time we hit, we gain another 10% till we successfully land a crit, and then the rage, it goes back down to 60%. So it'll go 1 hit without a crit, 70%, 2 hits without a crit, 80%. 3rd hit is a crit, back down to 60%. Hope that makes sense. Wind Demon gives you attack speed and movement speed by an increase of 20% for 5 seconds when you land a crit. It basically allows you to stick on somebody because you've got increased movement speed and increased attack speed. Malice, when you deal a critical strike, you deal 75% of your total physical power, so you deal around about 130 if you're us, or 120, as a damage over time for the next 3 seconds. So that's basically the things on this. So as you can see, we swing for 208, but we crit pretty often, and when we do crit, we are actually doubling our damage. So instead of doing 208 with our basic attack, we're doing 416. So as you can imagine, crits are pretty good, but if you build this item, you can see that not only does it come with another 20% critical strike chance, but it comes with a passive that increases your critical strike damage by 40%. So now, instead of 250 is what we hit for, so we should be critting for 500, but actually we're critting for 576. So this is just something that if you are building crit, you want to build Deathbringer because it allows you to really pump up those crits to the point where they're just ridiculous. That's crit done, and I think there was one more. Yes, there was penetration. So the way that penetration works is it increases. So what we're going to do is we're going to do two abilities, right? We're going to do two items, sorry. We're going to do Warrior Tabby, and that's going to be our base. That's going to tell us exactly how hard we swing for, because it has 40 power on it. And then we're going to swap out that 40 power for another 40 power, so that the item that we swap it with just has an increase of 20 physical penetration. So we can see the difference between the two. I'm not sure it's going to work too well on these Odins. So yeah, we hit for 97 on the Odin. But if we add 20 physical penetration, we've still got the same power, remember, but if we add 20 physical penetration, all of a sudden we're hitting for 115 instead of, I can't actually remember what the boots were, instead of 97. So already you can tell that you gain 17 bonus per hit. So that's actually like, you know, another 15% damage because we're burning through his protections. So a good way that we can see this is we can build some damage items and try and get up towards. Let's see how far can we get up without fucking around too much. Let's see. Power. We just want raw power is what we really want. 30. And then we'll grab that. So we're up to 180 power, but as you can see, we have 0 penetration. So 180 power, 0 penetration. That's what we need to remember. We also need to wait for Hydra's Laminate to fuck off for a sec. Okay, there we go. Right, come here. 186. So with 190 power, which is what it was just a second ago, we're hitting for 196. 186. 190 power, 186. 190 power, 186. So now we need to sell these, get some penetration, and we'll check it out. $190 power exactly, and we were hitting for 186 before. So now we've got. Damn it, man, dude. You can already see there's a massive increase, but Ra's just like the most annoying little fuck in this, making everything difficult for us. So we were hitting for an 186 before, and I think, well, I'm almost positive we haven't got Shifter's Shield, have we? Oh no, so we should be fine. So 186 up to 268 is roughly an increase of 70. So we're gaining like an insane amount of damage because we're burning through so much of his protections. Like, he's only got base protections, or Ra's not going to build physical protection, but we're burning through his base protections like crazy, and that's because we've got the absolute max at 50 physical penetration. So I think that does it, guys. That just about explains all of the abilities. And next episode, which I'm going to upload straight away after this one, we're actually going to be looking at Thor, his kit, how to build him, and we're going to try and keep that one a little bit shorter. This one had to go on a little bit because it's sort of difficult to explain absolutely every ability without sort of going into too much detail. So yeah, I really hope that was useful, guys, and stick around because the next episode is going to be Thor, and after that it should be Guardians. So yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Alright, peace, guys.